Yo, apprentices, acolytes, coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and it is good to see you, fam. How you guys doing today? Let's go. How are we doing today, baby? Let's go. Yo, yo. Let's go. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My phone. I was like, what's going on? Oh my god, my phone was talking to me. Yo, let's go. David Torres in the chat. Skywalker Academy. Jeff inside the chat. Skywalker Academy. Let's go. Ahmed. Jeff. My boys, Biggles. Logan. So good to see everybody. Yo, can I get for the first time today? Ready up. Let's go. You love the shirt? Yeah, I like the shirt. I like the shirt. Yeah, it's I like it because it was the High Republic concept art. So I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was good. I liked the art for what it was. I do think that they should go back to the Chris Trevis and Tommy Lee Edwards look. You know, Hugh Fleming. Those are some of my favorite artists. But you know how it is. Yo, Connor, the legend, Jedi Connor, inside the chat. Yo, can I get a ready up for my Invincible boys? Let's go. But how you guys doing today? How's everything? So, I may put some people on blast today, by the way, guys. Have you read all the books for the High Republic? About 90% of them, yeah. A lot of the ones I think are very skippable. Like, I think a lot of the young reader ones are just kind of like, you know, they're whatever. They're young reader ones. It's whatever. Phase 2, I have to say, is probably the weakest part of the entire story. But the first phase, the third, and the last, I think are phenomenal. I think they're very good. I think they're very, like, you know, they're like, they go under the radar, if that makes any sense. I feel like there's a lot of fans, a lot of, like, diehard Legend fans that are very, like, anti-High Republic, which I don't really understand. I think the stories are pretty solid. They're not, like, amazing, like the greatest thing ever, but there's some that's, like, bangers, you know? So, yeah, we'll just have to see how far a lot of that stuff goes. But it is what it is, man. I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. I really enjoy it. So, guys, we have a couple things that I wanted to talk about today. Oh my gosh, did I not bring this thing up? Oh my goodness gracious. All right, let me get this comment because I may cook somebody today. And you guys know me, I'm not really trying to do those things. But there's something that I saw that kind of like just rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't like it when people claim what the hell I'm reporting or what the hell I'm making videos of is incorrect. I feel like I don't know why social media is like that these days, where everybody wants to kind of like, I don't know if it makes any sense. I don't know what it is. They put people on this whatever like as a target, and they want to try to educate people incorrectly. Like, I don't know what the basis is. I don't know what the objective is. But I really dislike it when people are trying to, like, I'm trying to educate people and someone says that what I'm saying is fake or wrong. You know, so I'm going to talk about that today, specifically about one of the videos we made, because we have a lot of the Darth Maul stuff happening, and I wanted to talk about Darth Maul and George Lucas's future plans for the sequel trilogy. So we'll see. Yo, Footsy's inside the chat. Let's go, my boy. Dude, I got so much to tell you, Foots. We gotta connect again, man, because I've been going so ham with the shiny hunting, man. But yeah, everybody, welcome Footsies with the ready up inside the chat. Yeah, this should be insane. Logan says, I'll never not be pissed that Mole got game canceled, by the way. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of them. I don't know if we'll ever get that, but man, it is what it is, guys. Okay. So, guys, we are 6 days away from Maul, man. So here's the other thing, guys. I think I'm going to move the streams for Maul only for Monday night. Monday night Dagovere. Monday night watch-alongs. How do you guys feel? Are you guys going to be okay? Because I'm not going to watch Maul until I watch it with you guys. And so that's going to be like 7, 8 o'clock at night, So I know I'm going to do my best to avoid spoilers. If you guys can't watch it, I understand. It makes sense. Watch it when you need to, okay? Don't wait for me, But I will wait and watch it here on the watch-alongs. We'll do the watch-alongs together. And the streams will move to Monday, just for Maul. After Maul is done, we'll go back to Tuesdays, if you guys are okay with that. If not, let me know. Biggle says, did you see the new little teaser today? I saw parts of it, but I think it's too much. I feel like they're already giving away like way too much. There's been hella marketing now. So I've been kind of like staying away from a lot of the teaser stuff. I think today was a scene between one of the masters of who I'm hoping is Talon and Darth Maul meeting him, which I thought was really cool. But I saw like 2 seconds of it. I replied and I was like, oh my God, holy shit. And then that was it. I didn't do anything else. So I haven't I haven't seen the whole entire thing. I don't want to. Yo, Turtle Bomb, Daddy Sheev inside there. Oh my God, we got the whole Daddy Sheev Jedi Connor Starlight podcast in here, baby. Let's go, man. Bickle says that's fair. I would too if I had self-control. The funny thing is I don't, but I've noticed that because a lot of people like watching my reactions, and that's actually what got me a lot of exposure before was my reactions. So I don't want to sully the reaction, especially the way I react because I'm hella cringe. I'm very, very, very energetic. There's a lot of stuff that I really react to like a certain way, and I think people like it. So I don't want to like distort or ruin or taint the reaction. So I try not to consume too much of it, especially if I'm gonna do a watch along with you guys, and that's what we're gonna do. I first saw you from Mando season 2 reaction. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of people really like those reactions. I used to get shout outs all the time. And I also used to edit. I'm not used to. I still edit my stuff. When I used to do reactions, I edited my stuff all the time, and I was one of the first ones. And I had people like, I had all the reactors, Star Wars reactors, that were like, "How do you upload so fast?" And I was like, "Dude, I just edit my stuff." There's a lot of people that were calling me like the fastest reactor in the galaxy. It was so funny, dude. It was hilarious. But a lot of people stuck around because I knew my shit about Star Wars lore. And I would catch things that other people wouldn't. So they liked that, So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to do lore videos because I like doing lore videos more. I get called a shill a lot less when I do lore videos. So Ahmad says, do you think it makes sense to still have Darth Talon when Maul just goes by Maul now? I personally think Twi'lek won't be trained by Sith, but she will be a Darksider. So, all right. So since you brought it up, we're going to talk a lot about today the person that kind of really annoyed me. And I want to semi-cook this person with a little bit restrained because you guys know me. I'm a Sith boy at the end of the day, okay? And sometimes, sometimes my kindness is not strong enough, over my vengeance and hatred. So I will say that Darth Maul, or Maul at right now, is really interesting because, yes, you're correct. It wouldn't make sense because he's not a Darth. But the problem is Maul is still a Darksider. He still has that influence. He still has that understanding. These are all the tools that he knows how to do, and it's dark-sided hatred and vengeance. This is who he is, right? That's his craft. So if you take a Jedi, a bird, right, a beautiful light, and then everything around them is choking them because it's all darkness, which is what a Jedi is in this moment that they've survived Order 66. Every single time they tap into the Force, I would assume that it's kind of claustrophobic. It's choking them because the whole scales of the balance are it turns to the darkness, right? So someone like Maul may not need to be a Darth to twist and turn this person's view of the Force. The Jedi are gone. The light side didn't work. And so now you have this person who seems to be extremely effective with Maul is. Maul is very effective. And that alone will be enough influence to push this character Talon down the dark side. He doesn't need to be a Sith. She will just realize how effective it is and then maybe even get to a point where he isn't doing enough for her and then goes off on a Darth Bane journey. finds holocrons or goes to Korriban or something crazier, Malachor, Droman Kaas. There's plenty other alternatives where someone can become a Sith. You don't just need someone from the rule of two. So maybe perhaps Maul piques her curiosity, and even the dark side slowly corrupts her view of the Jedi path, the Force itself, and what purpose is. Which, in my opinion, happens to all Darksiders. They eventually get corrupted and they change who they are. So Maul doesn't need to be a Darth Vader to become a Sith, Skippy. So you're saying she can be a Sith on her own even if she leaves Maul? 100%. Yep. She tasted the dark side, and that's it. That's enough to get corrupted, It's one of the videos I was talking about how one of the guys that was in here when I was sick, Chris, he was very passionate about his view with Vergere and everything else, right? And I was just talking about how George Lucas talks about emotions and how emotions can eventually lead you down a path where you are enslaved by the dark side. And I was trying to explain that who you are as a person, the jealousy, the hatred, the anger, the lust, these things are natural for a human to feel. They are not evil. But the problem is when you're in Star Wars and you continuously tap into these emotions and you consistently use these emotions to fuel your power, that is what essentially is going to threaten you, where you eventually succumb to the corruption of the dark side, is you're using it so often, you don't have control. And that's exactly what happened with Anakin. The same thing can happen with this character talent. The same thing can happen. It's the same thing. That's why it's very dangerous for a Jedi or a Force user to tap into those emotions consistently, over and over again, with no control. You're putting yourself, you're going to eventually drown yourself and make yourself become addicted to those emotions. That's the whole point. And you don't need to be a Sith. You can just be a Force user and just fall. That's really it. So this is one of the I'll show you guys the two things that I saw on this video. And if you guys didn't know, this video that I had created was about George Lucas's sequel trilogy. This is the second time I made this. And it's more relevant now than ever because now Maul Shadow Lord is essentially using those plans that George Lucas was going to have. And I wanted to talk about Talon. And one of the guys had posted, he said, "Too bad this is fake. Actually heard from his plans, and people use Talon because her look." And I think he deleted the comment, but he was saying something along the lines like, "This is not the actual plans because Talon exists in the Legends continuity, so it's impossible that George would use her for his current sequel trilogy plans." So then I saw another comment, and it said, "Just by the way, the timeline would not work because it has Darth Talon." Okay. I think it's really interesting that so many people are fixated on the idea that George Lucas would not change things in the canon. It makes no sense. This is exactly what George Lucas is going to do. Logan, you can call me out. Any Legends fan can call me out right now. I think what's really interesting is when you read, which I'm reading right now, the Jedi Search trilogy. So that's Jedi Search, Dark Apprentice, and Champions of the Force. Even Heir to the Empire. A lot of those books were created way before the prequels, right? You have words like Palpatine in there. Palpatine, of course, I think was actually in some of the original scripts, but for the original trilogy. But you didn't really know who Palpatine was until the prequel trilogy. Same thing with Coruscant, right? Coruscant is really interesting because in the books they're pronouncing it Coruscant. And they pronounce Sabak, or Kip Duran. All these like really interesting things that go all the way back to the old EU. And I think it's funny because George Lucas, especially when you listen to Mark Hamill, he talks about how Luke would eventually pass down the torch in the late 2000s. So there was always going to be a sequel trilogy, right? And for anyone out there that thinks I'm completely fucking lying about the things that I do, I just got to say, the whole inspiration for this channel is to show you guys the exact page, to show you guys the exact source, to show you guys exactly where I'm coming from, okay? And if you guys haven't had it before, this is the Star Wars Archives. This is the episode 1 through 3 from 1999 through 2005, okay? And on page 499, okay, when I first made this video, Paul Duncan, who's the creator of this, he does a lot of this stuff for Archives and 007, I think a couple others. He's asking George Lucas just about stuff, and George is just rambling. He's just rambling. And George eventually gets to a point about the sequel trilogy plans. And it's really interesting because he said the sequel trilogy would take ideas from what happened after the Iraq War. Okay, you fought the war, you've killed everybody. Now what are you going to do? Rebuilding afterwards is harder than starting a rebellion and fighting a war. When you win the war, you would disband the opposing army. What do? The stormtroopers would be like Saddam Hussein's, I don't know how to say this word, I'm so sorry, Batiste, fighters that joined ISIS and kept on fighting. The stormtroopers refuse to give up when the Republic wins. They want stormtroopers forever, so they go to a far corner of the galaxy and start their own country and their own rebellion. There's a power vacuum, so gangsters like the Hutts are taking advantage of the situation. And there is chaos. The key person is Darth Maul, who had been resurrected in the Clone Wars cartoons. He brings all the gangs together. Paul Duncan asks, was Darth Maul the main villain? George Lucas says, yeah, but he's very old, and we have two versions of him. One is a set of cybernetic legs like a spider, and then later on, he has metal legs. And he is a little bit bigger, more of a superhero. We did all of this in the animated series, and he was in a bunch of episodes. Darth Maul trained a girl. Darth Talon. Darth Maul trained a girl. Darth Talon. But too bad this is fake, because I actually heard from his plans. And people using Talon because of her look is fake. And that's not going to happen because she's in the old continuity with Cade Skywalker. By the way, the timeline would not work because it has to have Darth Talon. It doesn't make any sense. But George Lucas says Darth Maul trained a girl. And her name was Darth Talon, who was in the comic books as his apprentice. So is George not understanding his own continuity, or does he not give a fuck? And he just wanted to use the character, like Coruscant. She was the new Darth Vader. She was the new Darth Vader. And most of the action was with her. So these were the two main villains of the trilogy. Maul eventually becomes the godfather of the crime in the universe, because as the Emperor falls, he takes over. I don't like to be this person, but I'm just telling you guys. The videos that I make come straight from a book. That's it. I'll tell you the exact page number. I'll tell you it all. All right? I don't know everything. Man. I'm not a know-it-all, guys. My reading comprehension is so fucking bad. Sometimes I think I have an IQ of 60 because I have to read shit over and over and over again. But me reading shit over and over again makes me realize that there's a lot of people online that just don't fucking listen. You know? Again, I understand there's a lot of people out there that are influencing other people. And, you know, the fact is just distilled. It's watered down, and some people don't get. But this is Paul Duncan lying? Is this whole fucking Archives book fake? False? He's got two of them. He's got the original trilogy and this one, and I'm not the only one making videos off of this. There's another guy that's got like 4 million subscribers that makes videos off of this. So I guess we're both fucking lying, you know? But yeah, man. Just know, guys, if I don't know something, I'm gonna research the shit out of it to make sure it's right, you know? Dagosmear making stuff up again. Yeah, dude. Man, it's so crazy. It's one thing if you don't agree. Everybody disagrees, man. It's fine. That's fine. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the discussion, is to have fun, you know. But when I say something like, well, you know, George Lucas said this, and this is what he wanted to do, you know, I think a lot of times too, guys, is if George Lucas makes his sequel trilogy, there's a lot of stuff that's retconned. There's a lot of stuff that's changed. There may or may not be Yuuzhan Vong. You know, there may or may not be the twins. You know, Jaina Solo. There may not be a lot of things, guys. You know, and to hear that he was going to have the whole criminal underworld thing with Darth Maul and Darth Talon is years, hundreds of years after Luke is long and dead, So he's changing it up, baby. He's changed. That's Crate's story. That's a lot of story. Abeloth. There's a lot of things there that are probably in jeopardy, And I don't mind, because if George wanted to do that, then he was going to do that, I still would have enjoyed the continuity that came before and after. It's just so many people have a problem with, I don't know, I guess looking truth in the face. It is what it is. But I think that's also just like a thing too, man. Because you guys know me, I love Legends. Look around me, I love Legends. But I think that's a very, very great question. How much of the old continuity would have changed if George Lucas decides to make his sequel trilogy? I think a lot of diehard Legends really dislike the Clone Wars and all the lore that it retconned. So I think they have another problem on their hands if George Lucas decides to make his sequel trilogy. Because if you guys can't get over Darth Talon being used, I don't know what to tell you, man. Ay, dude. You gotta cite your sources. You gotta tell them the page number. If you go back and look, if you go back and look at my channel in 2023, I put the artist, I put the page number, I put the source, I put Legends or canon, but people didn't give a shit, and it's really frustrating too, because I want to be that source, this happened in this happened in this. And what's also, there's 4 creators that have millions of subscribers that have looked at my video and made a video after, and they get thousands of views, whatever, and subs. It's whatever. It's the nature of the game, But that was the reason why I liked putting all of that there, was to show where exactly it was coming from, So if anybody said, well, the Gray Jedi doesn't exist, well, that's not true, actually. The Gray Jedi, the title, does exist, but what you're referring to is not what was created. And it's in this book, and it's also in here, and it's also in there. It's not to prove people wrong. That's not the point. It's to educate people and help them understand, what is right, what is incorrect, and that's the one thing I love about this channel, because I love that, Same thing with the Dark Empire. Dark Empire is actually a huge inspiration to the channel, because there's a lot of people, I was reading Dark Empire back in the day when I was like 13 years old, and I was telling my uncle, who was a huge Star Wars fan, and I was telling him that Luke Skywalker fell to the dark side, and he was like, "Nah, not my Luke. I swear to God, that's verbatim what he said in like 2003." I told him that shit, and that's exactly what he told me. And I had the comic book there, and it just made me feel like books and comics didn't matter, So I just like that as like a whole fan, because I didn't understand the concept of like why someone like George Lucas would allow comics and books to be made if the story wasn't real. He just wanted to make money, but maybe he also liked things like Darth Talon, in an Italian accent. Not my Luke. Yeah, dude. It's a pizzeria. Yeah, dude. That's exactly how it was, dude. Logan says, "Oh yeah, the sequels would have been nuked post Endor EU." Yeah, that's exactly what I think if he gets his stuff. I mean, because like I'm honestly envisioning it's maybe a decade after, 5 to 10 years after Return of the Jedi. So when I'm looking at Heir to the Empire, when I'm looking at Jedi Surge, I'm looking at Thrawn duology, all these things, and of course New Jedi Order. I think there's a huge jeopardy. Like a lot of that stuff is in jeopardy of existing anymore. But I could see something like New Jedi Order exist in this story, because maybe it's so far. Maybe he can combine it. And there's several times, I think Lord Dave talks about, where if someone made this in the comics, in the books, maybe we use it. I actually believe that's George's thought process too. Because Coruscant and Darth Talon, I think, are prime examples that this guy was going to use this stuff, So we'll see, man. Well, actually, we won't see. That's a lie. Don't listen to me. We're not fucking seeing. It's never happening. So, but that's what I truly believe, honestly, man. You know, that's how I truly believe. Skywalker Academy says, adding your sources also helped me find these books or other media. It helps me. Yes, and that's the thing, too, because I noticed that a lot of people, of Star Wars content creators kind of gateway the knowledge. Yeah, they gatekeep the knowledge, and that really sucks, you know. I think there's a lot of channels out there that do really well, but, you know, I don't know. It's like people don't actually want to watch content creators who aren't important, you know, to the influence. You know, you usually have to pick a side. You know, maybe you're watching that guy or that guy. I don't think there's a lot of people like you guys in this chat that actually look for a quality channel. You know, they just kind of watch everybody else. Who's this person watching? I'll watch that person. You know, oh, who's this Easter egg guy watching? I'll watch that guy. You know, it's also hard these. I feel like it's hard to actually find channels. You know. Ahmad says, some of those concepts were used in the sequels we have now. Some, not a lot. Some. I actually think they really didn't really care what George had to say, you know. Especially the way Bob Iger talks about it. He's like, oh, well, you know, George didn't really understand the pressure we were under. Well, then why the fuck did you buy the IP in the first place? You know, I feel like that's such a cop-out. You know, you didn't understand the pressure we were under. But I'm going to spend $5 billion on it anyway. Step up or step aside, dude. Ridiculous. You know? That's my motto in life, you know? If you guys can't handle the pressure, get out of here, dude. You know? But he's gone. That guy's gone. I don't know what the new regime is going to do. You know? The prequel hate was strong at the time. That is why. They didn't trust George. Well, yeah, Ahmad, you're 100% correct. You know, it's so funny, too. Leon's in the chat, by the way. And I have to tell Leon all the time that, like, the prequels were fucking hated, guys. Like, exactly how it is for bringing up The Last Jedi, wherever Connor is. I usually summon Connor when I say that. Like, imagine that, but, like, for every movie. You know? It was pretty bad. I lived that shit. Most of the people in this fucking chat were 4 years old when Attack of the Clones came out. I wasn't. I was like, was it 2000? I was 13 years old. Yeah. 12? Yeah. You know, Phantom Menace comes out, I'm 10. I think Darth Maul's the coolest shit ever. But all people talk about is Jar Jar Binks. I'm just like, wow, okay, yeah, I get Jar Jar Binks, but like, did you not see that guy have a double-bladed lightsaber? Like, that shit was amazing. Attack of the Clones, I remember watching, and like, people literally walked out of Attack of the Clones because the movie was too long. Especially the grown-ups. I remember just about every single parent that was in that movie theater, and they had to walk out because they were tired. They had to go take a break. There was one lady, I remember, where we were waiting in line and we went to go see it, and everybody was in line waiting to see it. She's like, I had to go out. It's so long. We still got 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, man. You know, everybody was like laughing at her. And people were already making fun of like Jar Jar before they even seen Attack of the Clones. They thought he was like going to be in it. You know, I think one of the people was like, oh, is Jar Jar swinging a lightsaber in there, you know, or something. It was like, he didn't know. I guess he didn't know Yoda was about to do backflips. It was pretty bad. I remember just being so hyped when I saw Revenge of the Sith and I came out and I was like, oh my God, dude, Revenge of the Sith might be the greatest movie I've ever seen. You know, and that was like 15-year-old Dagovere, you know, sophomore year of high school. And I remember like everybody in the class was like, that was such a bad movie. My dad said George destroyed Star Wars. My dad said he's going to ruin the original trilogy and remake them. Like, it was like bad, guys. It was bad. There wasn't any YouTube like this, like it is today, you know. So a lot of the stuff that you hear was literally just parents and people like saying those things. So as time goes on, and then something like the sequel trilogy comes out, a lot of that stuff gets glazed, and they really gloss over what the actual effect was, because all they're just trying to do is, you know, have anything else benefit their agenda, you know. That's how I feel. The reasons the prequel got judged so hard is like today judging anything after Andor. Yeah, it is. But even before that, though, David, it's like I still believe that I would even say this with the prequel trilogy is like there's still so many like opportunity there's still so much opportunity for people to criticize because Disney gives them opportunity to criticize, especially with the sequel trilogy. We talk about this stuff all the time. But there's other things too, like, like, all right, people talk about how Palpatine Returns is like the worst thing ever. I don't think so. I don't think Palpatine Returns is the worst thing ever. I think They Fly Now is the worst thing ever. In my opinion, like the way how many people like make fun of somehow Palpatine Returned, I feel like that should be more of like They Fly Now. I think the They Fly Now was just as clear as day how out of touch the people that were making the movies were out of touch. Leon says they're both terrible. I disagree. I actually think somehow Palpatine Return is not a bad line. Because I think it's very dark Empire and goofy expanded universe, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that. We need to find a way to get people in the movies. All right, let's bring back Palpatine. Okay, great. How does he return? Somehow. Okay, cool. Whatever. He's here. F it. I really don't mind it. But I really, really was triggered by They Fly Now. The They Fly Now was just like a clear, well, who gives a shit? We don't care. They have the same writers. They know nothing about Star Wars. So that's the thing, though, is I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that they know nothing about Star Wars. I would just say that they don't love it as much as us, And I think that was ultimately the problem with that whole production is you love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. How much do you love Star Wars? You love Star Wars so much that you watch YouTube videos, you watch TikTok videos, maybe you'll read a book, you read comics, you watch the animation, you even play video games. Those people were not doing that, And that's the one thing is like, yes, I'm not asking them to do all that, but like George's continuity, the people that were making George's continuity were doing that. They understood how consistent it was, and that's why it wasn't the same. That is exactly the problem. Yeah, no, I agree. But again, Logan, it's like you're already so deep into the whatever the hell you created, there's no coming out of it. So it is what it is, I just accept it. It is what it is, I'm very excited for Maul's Shadow Lord, and I genuinely believe that Disney new canon is not anywhere near as bad as people say it is. But the problem is you have to get over the hill of the sequel trilogy, and that's most of what the casual fan base will remember, That's the problem. That's what they're always going to remember, and it is what it is. Like I can't, even with all my knowledge and books and stuff like that, I can't educate someone enough to take off the glasses of hatred because there's too many excuses for them to be right, Even I'm not going to defend the things I dislike, but I'll try to get someone excited about the new movie, or the new project because I want them to be, and I want to be too. Quincy, thanks so much for coming here. Everybody welcome Quincy with the Ready Up says, I was just reading the Bane trilogy and then I think I'm confused when Bane is afraid of Xana will take the mantle of the Sith master by waiting for him to become old and weak, but it's okay when Palpatine did it. But that's all, Quincy, that you have to understand too. It's not just like Bane. That's just like how hypocritical the whole Bane Knight Sith is. I just think that's how Sith operate, and I think that's also why a lot of people really, really, really dislike the whole rule of two thing anyway, is because they see that the idea of the rule of two, or the idea of the Sith was kind of like, restricted into this one rule, and now there isn't a lot of it. But Bane is a character, and all Sith in general, they're all cowards. They're all hypocrites. They follow the rule until they don't want to follow the rule. It's really the rule of one, you know, which is why I love that trilogy so much, because Bane talks about like how dangerous the idea of the rule of two is, because someone will eventually create the rule of one, which Sidious does, you know. I love that. Skywalker Academy. Oh, David Torres. What's David Torres saying? What's my boy saying? He says, but Sidious returning kills everything Vader did in Return of the Jedi. No, it doesn't. No. It doesn't kill everything. No. You have to understand that Anakin's legacy still exists with Luke, with Kylo Ren. You know, and that's a testament to everything that they've been through. And as much as I don't like the story, they can't defeat Sidious without Anakin. Anakin is there in the comics. Anakin is there in the books. He's not there in the movie, which he needed to be, but his voice is there, you know. But even still, you know, Leia's lightsaber is there, and Anakin's lightsaber is also there, and Ben Solo is there. So it does not, in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion, ruin anything that he did. In fact, it even bolsters it, because no matter when Palpatine comes back and how powerful he is, this motherfucker cannot beat Anakin. He can't. Anakin is always there. Whether it's a lightsaber, someone, an ancestor or something, Sidious is losing every day of the week to Anakin. And I love that, because he ruined Anakin's life. So even if it is something as small as insignificant as Anakin's daughter's lightsaber that deflects the lightning back into his face, that's what Palpatine gets. Because no matter how strong Palpatine is, he's nowhere near as powerful as full potential Anakin. The chosen one, baby. Deal with it. Hold this fucking L. You know? We might as well get as somehow Anakin returned. But he never left. He's still there. He's in the world between worlds. He's seeing everything happen. We don't know what Ahsoka is going to do. And I'm talking about the series of Ahsoka and where it's going to show Anakin, how far. Because Anakin is a big piece of the Star Wars story, whether people like it or not. You know, so he's always going to be around. He's always going to be there. And he's guiding Ahsoka. He's guiding Sabine. Maybe the hunt for Ben Solo comes up and he's there too. It fucking better be, you know. We'll see. I don't think Palpatine Return ruins Anakin. Anakin's biggest quest was casting of the yoke. I don't think it ruins it at all. Is Light of the Jedi Republic? Light of the Jedi and the High Republic, is it good? Yes, I think it's good. I think look, Quincy, I'm a Legends guy at the end of the day. You know, I think the High Republic is good. I don't think it's there's some people that really glaze it, but I think it is good. I think it's solid. I think it's solid Star Wars. Light of the Jedi is a good book, but I think the next book is one of the best Star Wars books, because it's made by someone, and you might like this, that literally sees the Bane trilogy as like the best Star Wars ever. He's a huge fan, and he's always wanted to write more Bane books. So make sure you get to the next book, The Rising Storm, because The Light of the Jedi is kind of hard. There's so many characters, there's so many things happening, but if you can get by it, it'll be worth it, you know. Leon says, nah, it takes away the meaning of Vader's sacrifice. I respect your opinion, though. It does not. It really doesn't. It doesn't, man. It doesn't. But I understand, Leon. You have the hatred of the sequel trilogy. I do too. But there are things to criticize. I'm gonna ask you a question. Leon. A genuine question. I want you to answer this as best as you can. Okay. So give me a second. I want to show you something. So let's say you're a diehard Legends fan, right? You're a diehard Legends fan. I know you are. You like a lot of stuff, right? So let's see, Dark Empire. Wait, relax. I want to show you something. I'm going to show you something real quick, right? So let's say Sidious returns, right? You just saw Return of the Jedi, right? You love Return of the Jedi, okay? And then what happens? Oh my gosh, no fucking way. What did they did? Somehow Palpatine returns. And Palpatine doesn't just return. Luke Skywalker falls to the dark side and serves the Emperor. What? No fucking way. In Legends continuity? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what else happens? You know what else happens? You know what else is actually crazy? Is not only does Luke fall to the dark side, but Luke threatens and almost kills Han Solo, his best friend, arguably his brother. And you know what's even crazier? You know what's even crazier? Oh my God. He's letting Leia get shocked by Palpatine that somehow returned. His own sister, just letting it happen. Do you think that ruins Anakin's legacy? Do you think that ruins Anakin's sacrifice? It's just a question. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I just want to understand, because I think there's a lot of people online that, you know, it's really easy to attack the sequel trilogy, but I think, and I'm not saying you're this person, Leon, but I think it's so quickly that say, you know, George's stuff was better. Yeah, George's stuff I think is amazing. Yes, but at the same time too, is like there's a lot of stuff in that EU that I think George would really not like, you know. It's not out of character for Luke. It was underestimate of Luke's part. Yes, I think that the Dark Empire challenges the idea of what Luke is after Return of the Jedi. I think also the Dark Empire series doesn't, you know, it's made before the entire prophecy of the Chosen One. So the Darth Vader sacrificing himself is also not really in the same realm at that point. But I guarantee you, if this came out after the sequel trilogy or around the same time as the sequel trilogy, and we have these Disney versus Legends fans, I guarantee you this gets criticized and crucified as much as Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi. I guarantee you. Because this was exactly the comic that I was talking about before, about my uncle saying, not my Luke. You know, I showed him this shit, and he said, not my Luke. You know, I guarantee you that shit is not liked. I guarantee you. Same thing with the Yuuzhan Vong. What do you mean? What do you mean the Force isn't affecting them? They're not going to read the spoiler. Everything is supposed to be connected to the Force. That's what Yoda said in The Empire Strikes Back. Nuh-uh, not my Force. Nuh-uh. Like father, like son. Well, that's the interesting part, Skywalker Academy, is that Luke in that moment, Luke eventually is talking about how he understands the Force so much more. But it's not about like what people think this gray Jedi shit is, what they get completely wrong. It's the idea of how easily someone can get consumed because of their emotions. What's also really good too is, you know, one of my favorite books, the Essential Guide, the Force, Essential Guide to the Force, Jedi versus Sith. Luke has a whole freaking section about that, how dangerous it is to the dark side, and he's talking about like these layers, these steps of falling to the dark side, and how you're eventually going to get consumed. And it's one of my favorite parts. Maybe I'll bring it up tomorrow when we're talking about it in the Starlight podcast, man, because that shit is so good for everyone understanding of like the pull to the dark side, what Luke is understanding during the Dark Empire, because it's in his blood too. You know, his father's blood is in his body. Same thing with those tendencies, the hereditary pull to the dark side. You know, which is crazy because you don't know who Anakin is. You know, in the original trilogy, you know what he did, but you don't know who he is, and you don't really know who Luke is. Outside of the son of Vader. But all that stuff is amplified by the prequel trilogy. That world building is there, you know. And so I love that. I've always loved that. And that's why I appreciate Dark Empire in its own way, because it's helping you understand in my opinion, what I think The Last Jedi fails at. You know, I like that. I like that a lot. I heard that Timothy Zahn really hated the idea of Palpatine returning in the Dark Empire, so he refused to mention that in The Heir to the Empire. Yeah, and I think that's also true, Logan, right? Is that correct? That they both were kind of like pretending like someone's didn't exist or something. I think I've heard about that too. Luke turning just shows how strong the dark side is. If someone as pure as Luke Skywalker can turn, then anyone can. If the son of the Force, and I feel like people aren't really like understanding what I'm saying. Is like when I say that Anakin Skywalker is the son of the Force, you know, that means that he is the Force. A part of him is the Force, right? So if this guy is made of literally of the Force, and the dark side of the Force is corrupting him, then that means no one should have it. But I think that creates a bigger question too. Is like, you know, then if he's a part of the Force, does that mean that the dark side is not? You know, and that's kind of how I feel too sometimes, because I don't really think the dark side is a part of that Force, because I feel like George Lucas, the way he talks about it, it's two different sources, and you're pulling from one side and you're pulling from the other. This is the dark side. That's the light side. You know, and a lot of people think they're together, but I don't think that's true. I think they're different, especially the way the dark side corrupts. Ahmad says, I honestly prefer Rise of Skywalker to Dark Empire simply because Rey and Ben both fight the temptation of darkness. As soon as Ben arrives, Rey chooses him, and they work together. Yeah, I mean, I've always talked about how I feel like Kylo's story is easily the best part of the sequel trilogy. But I still think the way that they do that in The Rise of Skywalker just wasn't executed as well as it should have been. Logan says, while Zahn didn't mention Dark Empire, the voice in Mara's head telling her to take out Luke harmonizes with the Dark Empire perfectly because he's still communing with her. Interesting. But is that really true, though? Because the way that story ends is like she's being told by him to kill Luke Skywalker, and the Luke that she kills is the clone Luke. So I felt like that was the whole riddle. Plus, Mara hunting Luke is a test for Luke before he corrupts him. Interesting. I wonder how much of that is true. I'm so curious. I really love that whole Mara story with Luke, man. That shit is so good, man. I love that story so much. Leon says, I think it's fine in an alternate universe story, but not the official timeline. Interesting. So then you're not one of the fans that thinks that George that would call the expanded universe George's Star Wars then. Because to you, if I'm getting this correct from this statement, the books and the comics are not as relevant as the movies. Which I think is a no-brainer, because I think there's a lot of people that would say otherwise, but the more and more as I get older, I especially in the new canon, I feel like the new canon stuff doesn't matter as much as like Legends did, you know. And I'm only saying that because I just feel like the new canon has way less in it. Not just because it's new, but because I feel like they are not making new stories like the High Republic, because they're too afraid. They want to make money off of it, and they feel like money is in movies and streaming, and that's why all the content that you're getting is like supplementary content that is connected to a TV series, or a movie, you know, which is like most of the stuff that we get outside the High Republic. You know, and I think it sucks. It really sucks. I just wish they did more like the Vader comics, you know. And I feel like the Vader stuff is so good. The books, anything that has to do with Anakin, for some reason, is always so good. Yeah, but I don't know. I think I don't know if that's ever gonna get fixed, man. Honestly. Yeah, it's true. Mara wasn't meant to kill Luke. That was an unforeseen loophole. The Dark Forces lore article confirms this. Palpatine attempted to punish Mara for turning away. That's hilarious. Ahmad says, I think we need a Plagueis trilogy book where he trains under Darth Tenebrous when he trains Darth Ren, and then see. But I feel like I feel like the Acolyte was going to be that, and I feel like that's another reason why so many fans they're so quick to judge something, but they can't see the potential anymore. You know, like. Are you going to do an edit reaction today? Oh, it's already fucking 9. I have one. Give me 1 second. I can. Do you guys want me to do edit of the week? Sorry guys, I've also been like hella tired because work has been like crazy. Let me see if I had one that I wanted to show. Hang on. It might get loud. Oh yeah, this is the one. Okay, I have one. Oh yeah, baby. I have one. All right. Okay. All right, we got one. Are you guys ready? I know you gave me a bunch. All right. All right, here we go. You guys ready? So, this is one of the ones I work out to. You guys know I always like working out with this shit, all right? So, I'm so excited for you guys to see this shit. I just really need Mando and Grogu and Ahsoka Season 2 to deliver. I know, Leon. I know. But don't worry. It just might. Just try. Hold in there, man. I know the hate is in there, big dog. Just try. I guarantee you. Yes, things are bad, but they're not as bad as they seem. Trust. All right, guys. Here we go. Ready? So this one is another Star Wars SW_clips. This one is one of my favorites. I love this one. So let's get to it.
I don't care what she's accused of.
Let me in. Sorry, sir. The Admiral's orders stand. This is now a military operation and under his jurisdiction.
Another Jedi! Blast him! What is happening down there? Looks like the Lady Jedi's just about done. That's good, at least. Now, about the other... Oh, no! Get us over there now! Roger that, sir!
Commander, why did you not provide your troops with my description?
I didn't expect any...
Oh, he got it! He deserved it! He deserved it! Every bit, baby!
Run!
Sheesh! Woo! That's my goat. That's my goat. That's my goat. Yeah, Anakin was waiting for an excuse to kill Commander Fox, bro. God, yeah, I'm lifting. I'm always lifting to this one, and the other one that I showed you the other day, Darth Vader. You're surrounded. This one is so good, man. I think I sent this one to Bugsy, and he was like, "Holy shit!" I sent this. I think it was like last year, and he was talking about how he started working out with it, dude. Dude, I love that shit so much, man. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, but I'm always lifting to that shit. I'm always trying, dude. It's so good, man. I love that, dude. So good. All right, guys. Any other questions before we head out of here? Damn. So next week, guys. All right. So press 1 in the chat. Next week, are we doing Monday watch-alongs? 7 p.m. It's 8 p.m. 8 p.m. We'll do 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Anakin was waiting to kill. Yeah, for sure. Anakin should have annihilated those clones. Sheesh. Relax. Yo, what's good? Yo, Crystal, what's up? We just did edit of the week. How you doing, girl? How's everything? I saw Star Wars reply to you. I'm so hyped for you, man. I'm so glad. If you guys haven't, check out Crystal. Too much aura. Way too much aura. Save some aura for the rest of us. Relax. Yeah, I totally understand. Lord Dagovere, hopefully Maul Shadow Lord will tie into the Solo movie. I'm sure it will in some degree, but I think it's going to tie into Rebels more so than anything else, you know? Yeah, man. Did they send you that box yet, Crystal? They got to send you that box, man. I haven't gotten one yet, ever, but I tell you one thing, man. I feel like the swag that they get in those boxes is like really sick. That's like, it's like merch that you'll never see anywhere else, and that's pretty cool. Who knows, man? Maybe Mando Grogu coming out, you know? No PR for me, but that's okay. All right, well, you got the reply though. You'll get there. You'll get there one of these days. It's the ante up. They're slowly building it. Yeah, the Mole box does look pretty sick. It does. And Mole's such a... God, I love black and red. Black and red is like some of my favorite colors. So every time I see that, I'm just like, damn, man, those are some good colors. Leon says when they surround him, he was looking around like, we're all thinking, who the hell do they think they are? Dude, I know. I like when he's asking for Ahsoka and Commander Fox is like, sorry, you can't come in here. I just like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know if you should be saying that to Anakin like that. You know, it's never good. Skywalker says, I probably won't make to them. I watching stuff on my own. Oh, I like watching stuff. Yeah, I gotcha. That's understandable. I understand. Yeah, so guys, so we'll move the streams to Monday, and we'll do the watch parties at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys cannot make it, it's no big deal. Trust me, it's fine. I'll be fine. I mean, like, if anything... Oh, he's hurt. Oh, he's hurt. Yeah, for sure. If anything, well, I'll see how the first week is, and then I'll watch it. And then if like no one shows up, that's fine. I'll probably watch them I'll probably watch them Monday, and then we'll talk about it Tuesday, if anything else. Logan says I started collecting all the Tales of the Jedi comics. I'm only missing the two series. That's amazing. Did you see all my? Did you see everything that I got? I got so many. I got my Hugh Fleming stuff. I mean, I did get the mall because I'm gonna start hanging up comics. But oh, Logan. I know you love this one, Logan. But this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites for sure, man. Absolutely. Anything with Yulik Keldroma. And there's my boy, Exar Kun. Dude, if you guys have not read the Jedi Search trilogy with XR, oh man, it is so good, dude. So good, dude. And this, you're the main reason I'm watching the show, Lord Dagovere. I'm tuning in strictly for these streams. Thank you so much, Leon. I really appreciate that, big dog. I'm glad. One fan at a time, man. Golden age of the Sith to speak. I know, man. I think it's some of the best Star Wars, man. I love that era so much. The original Anakin is Exar Kun. Yep. Yeah, that's what I've been saying, man. That's what I've been saying, dude. So good. So good, dude. Dropping Tales of the Jedi edit in your Discord. Oh, dude, please send it to me. Yes, man. Yes. All right, guys, it's getting hot. My hair cannot handle it anymore. I cannot handle it anymore. I'm going to check out that edit. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends, even if it's your cat or something that likes Star Wars. We got shorts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Always uploaded. And then we have the stream Tuesday. And then we also have the Starlight podcast with Daddy Sheev and Jedi Connor, you boys over there. Always uploading around like Friday, so go and check it out, man. Patiently waiting for Exar Kun movie, dude. Just get me in the writer's room. We'll handle that, all right? We'll get it going. But as always, guys, you know what's going on here. All the apprentices and acolytes coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and I'll see you around. Deuces.